looking at the stormwater or surface drainage module. Zooming into the network, you can go and customize how you want all of your modules displayed. As an example here, if we go to nodes, you could go and customize these symbols and use your mouse wheel to browse through the different options. You could go and specify your own specific pen colors, line styles, and scales. If you want additional information associated to the node, you could right click and select the options. And this is applicable to your links, your subcatchments, and the option to specify color scheme. How did we get to this stage? You may be asking. There's numerous options available to you. You could, for instance, go and select the stormwater module without having to export or import from or to different software programs. And you could go to graphical and manually add the network in. What we're going to do for demonstration purposes is take a CAD drawing and then convert it into our network. So first of all, I'm going to go to my project settings and then get rid of the existing stormwater file that I've got. I'm going to use a clear example. I'm then take CAD layers and then convert it into my network. So I'm going to turn on those CAD layers. The storm link would be straight lines. Nodes, if you've got manhole names or node names and you want to utilize them, you could save it onto a specific layer. And then looking at the outfall, it would be presented by a bigger circle. And you aren't limited to just one outfall. You could have numerous outfalls within the network. Before we do the conversion from the CAD layer into our network, you could go to edit and set up these settings and parameters. Looking at them, I'm then go to default settings, where you could go and specify manhole types, and you can go and customize these manhole types. Looking at manhole conditions, material type, where again you could go and customize your own material type. Looking at the diameters, if you prefer Civil Designer to auto size the link diameters for you, you can choose auto sizing and it will take your runoff information and size your links accordingly. Alternatively, if you're analyzing an existing network, you can go and choose the diameter of choice. The SABS bedding classes are built into the program, but you can go and customize them. Looking at the layout option, if you do choose to use that graphical functionality I pointed out earlier, Civil Designer has the option of automatically inserting manholes where the link length exceeds 80 meters. Moving on to design parameters, there's numerous inflow calculation methods to choose from. You can specify Colebrook-White or Manning friction loss formula. Further down the list, you can go and specify the flow controls with the minimum maximum velocity. If that velocity is not achieved, it would be flagged in your results. Rainfall settings, you have the option of a generation method of using the default diagram, or if you're based in South Africa, you could use the South African Weather Service grid, where if your project is georeferenced, it will automatically zoom into the position. Alternatively, you could type in an area and Civil Designer will zoom into that area and gather all the rainfall data needed to calculate your intensity. So let's say we're looking at four-way. The map data was successfully loaded. If we look at that in more detail, we've got everything from a lower 2-year return period to an upper 200-year return period, and then looking at the duration. From that, Civil Designer is able to calculate your rainfall intensity. Moving on to infiltration rates with your antecedent moisture conditions. This is Redbook information that we've included into the module. Inflow hydrographs can be used if you've got on-site information and you'd like to include that in your analysis. You have the option of a reservoir file to model the detention or the retention of these reservoirs. Remember that this information could also be obtained from your surveying terrain functionality. Looking at storm data, we give you numerous storm types to choose from. As an example, with the Chicago storm, if you've got intensity, duration, frequency, curve information, you could populate that. Looking at what the hydrograph looks like for the Chicago storm. You can simulate pumps in your network where you could have up to 4 pumps per pump station. Your depth increments will be used for your quantity purposes. If you want to go and customize this, you can go and select your own increment and then click on Generate Increments. Moving on to bedding classes. SABS bedding classes are built in by default. You can go and customize your bedding classes. Node types can also be created and customized, where you could go and specify the material, your chamber dimensions, what shape you'd like to use, and then browsing through the different node lids. Civil Designer can also automatically size these nodes according to your pipe sizes. Last thing I'd like to point out is the link types, where you could go and specify the different link types. There's numerous options there to be customized. You aren't limited to round pipes. You can go and look at the different shapes. Remember, we still have a CAD drawing in front of us. Now that we've looked at the different options available, we can convert that CAD drawing into our network. We do so by going to File, Import, Convert Drawing Entities, specify which CAD layers represent your stormwater entities. It does the conversion, and then just zoom in, and that is what our network looks like at this stage. Using your contours and your slope arrows, you could go and specify your catchment areas by going to graphical and adding them. Once you're done, you'd run the analysis after you've checked for any error. Done that to save us time, so I'm going to go to File, Project Settings. I'm going to bring in the previous stormwater file that we've had. And then viewing the results, we go to View Results. That would be a summary of our network looking at the runoff, flow, overflow, volumes, node layout, link layout, and the hydraulic elevation. Civil Designer could also calculate your quantities for you. When doing this, it also includes your excavation volumes with the extra over, intermediate, and hard material, should you have that. Looking at the bedding and backfill volumes, culvert lengths, and manhole depths. You could also go and view this all in a vertical alignment. If you go to Tools, Vertical Alignment, you could go and browse through the different branches. You're able to go and make changes to your design here. As an example, you could select Interpolate, click on a point and an endpoint, and perhaps a good idea to go and switch off that energy grade line for now. You could also go and insert and delete manholes using this vertical alignment. If you've got other services associated to your project, you can go to auxiliary services and check for clashes. When looking at plotting, you could either plot the entire network or you could select portions of the network. In that case, you'd go to graphical, mark everything upstream, select a manhole, everything upstream of that manhole will be highlighted, right click and quit, and then go to Plot, Generate. Select which of Civil Designer's customizable sheet file you'd like to use, the sheet size, and if you'd like the layouts at the bottom over here, that will dynamically update as you make changes to the design or you want separate CAD drawings. Here I'm choosing to plot only what we've graphically marked. If you've got the crossing services and you want to include them in the long sections, you can do so. Specify which scale you'd like to use, and then what you would like plotted. On the right, we have the stormwater schedule with lots of information that could be utilized on site. We've got the plan view that you can customize what you want displayed. Looking at the long section again, you could go and customize what information you want associated with the long section, and you can take your company's title block and incorporate them into these sheet files.